Good morning, everybody. Schuyler Callihan here from Mountain Eers. Now, a new episode of Between the Ears, and the coaching search is officially underway. Bren Baker announced that yesterday as they will start their national search. And it's kind of a weird wording in the press release in that they're thanking Josh. They informed him and the team and so on and so forth, but they really didn't come out and say, we're totally moving on from you. I think some people took it as that. I think I even took it as that initially. But when he spoke with the media, he said that they're going to honor his contract, which runs through the end of April. And then beyond that, there's really no idea what's going to happen with Josh. So I imagine that'll be kind of a situation that will pop back up whenever the new coach is hired. And if they want to retain Josh, then they will. But it looks like they're just going to be here to kind of keep the waters as calm as they possibly can in what is almost an impossible task to do. But hey, he's hung in there this long and dealt with so much adversity at this point, and he's handled it with class, and I expect him to do the same here in the last month and a half of his job at West Virginia. And we'll dive into the full coaching search. We will talk about candidates. We'll talk about best fits. We'll talk about guys that are on the list or rumored list that maybe we shouldn't feel as comfortable about. We're going to get into all of that stuff over the next couple of weeks, and we're going to start that tomorrow. But today, I felt it would be a good thing to do to sit here and talk about the job that Josh did and kind of give him some praise here, because I think he 100% deserves it without a doubt. Going back to last summer, the whole situation happens, and at the time it felt like, oh no, this is going to get really, really bad. And depending on who you ask, it did. And I would say the majority of people would agree that this season kind of turned out to be exactly what everyone expected. Some thought, hey, Josh may have a shot here. They still got some pieces. They're going to make do with what they got, and maybe they can make a run, get into the Big 12 tournament, and do some damage with about a 500-ish team or so, and a couple of wins there in Kansas City get you to the big dance. That was always a very, very, very far-fetched idea. um, this group, as talented as the big three is, and I call the big three is Kirk Creesa, Raekwon Battle, and Jesse Edwards. They just didn't have any surrounding pieces. They didn't have enough around them. Josiah Harris is getting better. Kobe Johnson throughout the season, I thought, progressed a lot. Um, but there's still so many young guys that are in the early development stages of their careers, like Ofri Neve. Pat Sumnick was kind of thrown into a role he wasn't used to. We saw Jeremiah Bembry for 8 games, and that was it. So there's a lot of things that went on, obviously, that forced guys to play in roles they weren't expected to play in. And we talked about this, I believe, maybe last week, about the team that could have been, right? If everything that happened last summer didn't happen, you have Jesse Edwards, Kirk Creesa, and Raekwon Battle flanked by probably Trey Mitchell and Joe Toussaint. That's a whole lot different starting five than you had this year. So I always went into this season kind of expecting pretty much what we got. I don't even remember what the record was that I predicted. I want to say it was like 11 or 12 wins. I could be wrong, but it wasn't very much different than what they ended. It was just always going to be an uphill battle, especially once you got into conference play. And when we saw things unfold in non-conference, and you see some of the losses that they had in that area of the schedule, you kind of knew it was going to be a really, really long 2+ months of Big 12 play. And this is where Josh kind of comes in because even going back to the song, is there really anybody else that would have stepped into that role and flourished as well as he did? I really don't know. And if you don't bring back, or not bring back, but if you don't get the recommitments, if you will, of Jesse Edwards, Kerr Kriisa, Raekwon Battle, this thing could have got a whole heck of a lot worse. And it could have been more painful. Yes, there was only 9 wins. It didn't really result into much more success in the end, but you get the point. It could have been a lot worse. So I don't think that Josh gets enough credit for the job that he's done. And I know when you're 9-23 or 24, whatever the hell the record was, you're not going to get a lot of praise. And I get that. You're solely based off the win loss record that you produce. However, in this position, you shouldn't be. It should be about how he guided this team, how he kept this team together from day one to the end of the season in Kansas City. That's what he should be judged on. Because from my point of view, there was not one time where this team ever fractured, where they got up in each other's face and there was animosity, there was jealousy over playing time or roles. There was none of that. And that's very easy. That's something that's very easy to happen when you are as bad as you are record wise. Guys start to feel a certain way. And that really wasn't the case. And not only did they not feel a certain way towards each other, but they never questioned Josh. They never didn't listen to Josh. It may have looked like it at times because maybe they call a set or a play and it just breaks down, but that wasn't them not listening. It was just them not executing. For them to go the entire year and have the full respect of Josh Eilert should tell you all you need to know about Josh. And whoever hires him, whether it's as an assistant, an advisor, video guy, assistant to the head coach, associate head coach, a head coach, whatever the role may be, is going to get a first class human being, first and foremost, and a really good up and coming coach. I wholeheartedly believe that Josh Eilert, at some point, if he wants to, will be a really good coach, head coach down the line. This experience that he had this year, you can't get a better crash course as being a head coach than he had this year. I mean, you're talking about dealing with freaking everything imaginable happened to that guy. And he's been through it. He knows how to respond. Hey, we got eligibility concerns. All right, I know how to navigate that. We got a starter that breaks his wrist halfway through the season and he's out for a month. We've been through that. Have a guy that had a medical scare before the season started. We've dealt with that. Had a guy suspended for the first 9 or 10 games, a starter, your point guard for that matter. I've been through that. He's done everything. He's been through it all. He is more prepared than any potential first time head coach out there. I don't know if he's going to get another head coaching job this offseason. I would venture to say that's probably not going to happen. But at some point, he's going to get that opportunity again. And he should. A fair opportunity. Because if you think about it, for Josh, that says a lot for him to not only step up and take the job and do the job that he did, but for him to actually just say, yes, I will take this risk of this tainting my resume to keep everything that I can together as best as I can and try and make the most of the season. Because I'm sure he knew when he took the job this was not going to end well. More than likely. He probably didn't have that mindset, but in the back, way back in his mind, he probably thought there's probably a little bit of a chance that this thing goes south and it's not going to make me look very good. But he didn't care. He cared about West Virginia basketball. He cared about the players on the roster. He cared about the fans and the people in the state. He's unselfish. He never complained. All the crap that he was thrown or that was thrown in his direction, never once complained, never made an excuse. Class act guy. And I think somebody, if it's not West Virginia that's going to keep him, somebody's going to get really lucky to have a class act person and a very good up and coming coach. Wish the best to Josh Eilert and his future endeavors. He's done a lot for this basketball program. And at the end of the day, you cannot look at this record and say, that's how we're going to judge that man. Because I'm telling you, whether it be Bob Huggins, John Calipari, Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, Bill Self, I don't care who the hell you put in that situation. They're not making it much better. You give them the exact roster and the exact amount of issues that Josh had, you're going to get probably the same results, if not damn near close. Don't judge that man by his record. Judge him by his character and by the way that this team played from the very start to the very end of the season. I'm telling you, he's going to be a good coach. It's a matter of time. Now he's got that little bit of a taste. He's going to take that with him to his next opportunity, whether it be an assistant or head coach somewhere else, and he's going to run with it. There's no one else. Like I said, there's no one more battle tested than Josh Eilert. He knows how to handle it. He handles it with class and dignity. And to me, that's what makes him more impressive than anybody. That's why when I released my top 10 coaching candidates, I put him on the list. Hell, I even had him sixth. And I know it probably pissed some people off or a lot of people disagreed, but look, the guy had no chance. Zero chance to win. Absolutely zero. Again, give those issues and those problems to Bob Huggins or to any other coach out there that's extremely qualified. They are still going to struggle. You cannot judge him by that record. I'm not sitting here today vouching for him to be the head coach. I think there are better options. And I think Wren should go in a different direction because you have to be more sure. You have to have more conviction when you give that person the full-time head coaching job. But the reason I put him on the list and put him on a list as high as I did is because of the way he handled it, the way that recruits, even in the past year, seemed to really attach to him and his staff. And you give him an actual opportunity with the actual roster, I think he'd do fairly well. I really do. I think you put anybody in this position with the facilities that West Virginia has, the NIL backing that they have, the fan support, they're going to have success. But I don't know. We'll never know about Josh Eilert as a full-time head coach, I wouldn't think. So that's going to do it for me here today on Between the Ears. I'm Schuyler Callihan. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Mountain Ears Now. Give us a like as well and follow us on X at that same handle. We'll dive more into this coaching search tomorrow. We're going to talk some candidates, maybe some of my top 2 or 3. Yeah, what the hell? Maybe we'll go all 10. We'll see. I haven't figured it out yet. But make sure you join us back here tomorrow morning to wrap up the week here on Between the Ears.